I've written over 1,000 resumes for experienced professionals across every industry, and I am constantly updating my approach based on what works and what doesn't. These are the best tips and tricks I have that I know dramatically increase the odds of landing more interviews and landing more jobs. My name is Greg Langstaff, and I am a certified resume strategist who is here to help you land a job you will love. Today, we're going to talk about how to build the perfect resume for an experienced professional. Now, we're going to be covering how to brand yourself in your resume as an expert in your field. We'll talk about how to arrange the content in your resume so the person reading it is intrigued from the very beginning to the very end. We're going to talk about how to lay out the content in our resume so that it is eye-catching, professional, and compliant with any ATS scanners that might be reviewing our resume automatically as well. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how to sell ourselves in the exact right way that's going to make hiring managers dying to meet us. Let's get into it. Okay, my friends, this is it. This is the perfect resume for an experienced professional. We're going to talk about every piece of this so you can replicate this on your own resume. So first off, when it comes to picking a template, we want something that is simple, eye-catching, and most importantly, easy to follow. This one also has some great room for adding professional branding, which we're going to talk about in a second. And most importantly, its simple layout makes it very easy for ATS scanners, which are reading these things automatically, to pick up on your experience as well. Now, in terms of our contact information, I know it sounds basic, but I'm going to touch on a couple quick mistakes that sometimes people make. So first off, we are no longer listing our exact address on these things. People will be looking up where we live on Google Maps, seeing our house. This is awkward. We want to avoid it, so we're just going to list city and state. Next, it is a nice touch if we hyperlink to our LinkedIn profile on the contact information as well. So I would highly recommend just taking a moment to highlight. You can do it as simply as this. I'll highlight the LinkedIn phrase here, and we'll hit Control K, and then we can paste our LinkedIn URL and it will hyperlink there so people can get there in one click. Now, let's talk a bit about the professional branding. This is our first chance to really shine as a candidate, and the reason we do this is because with so many other people applying to the job, we need to make sure that they are excited to read our entire resume. And before we get into the professional experience, starting with the branding is where we're really going to do that. So we have 4 branding elements here. You only need 3. I'll show you how they all work, and you can pick which ones work best for you. So first off, we start with professional titles. You see we've got 3 phrases up here that just describe who we are as a professional. It's a nice snapshot. I would highly recommend using this one. Next, we dive into a professional summary. This is just a little mini paragraph, 4 lines at the most, to give them an idea of what's important to us as a professional. We can summarize our experience a little bit and start to talk about some of our best skills. Under areas of expertise, we're just going to jam in as many skills as we can here. I recommend going at maximum to 16, and like we have laid out here, these are any phrases that you see in the job posting you're interested in that you can speak to from your experience. This could be industry terminology, it could be equipment, and mostly it's just relevant skills, things you'll need to be able to do in this job. And then finally, career highlights. These are, again, a great way to showcase. I usually do our 3 most relevant highlights, things we've accomplished in our career that would show them that we will be great at the job that we're applying to. So we have some examples here. Feel free to take a look and replicate this in your own resume. If you're enjoying this video so far, my friend, and you're finding it valuable, take a second now to like and subscribe, because I am posting videos like this every single week with all of my best job search advice, and I would hate for you to miss one. So next, we're going to talk about our professional experience. Now, this part is the most important part of the resume, so it's critical we nail this. Here is my best and most successful approach to explaining our professional experience. So first off, obviously we list the essential information. That's our job title, company name, location of the company, and dates. And please, if you can, include the months. Otherwise, you could end up misleading them on how long you've been in this role. Next, I like to jump in with a little bit of an overview bullet point before we get into all of the sort of specific details and accomplishments. So I do this in italics, as you'll see here. And this is just us sort of explaining what our general responsibilities are, maybe giving a bit of context on what this company is and our position within it. However you want to use that, that's just our chance to lay out the big picture of what we were doing in this role before we get into our specific accomplishments. Now, in the actual bullet points, we want to list as many specific accomplishments as we can. And the way we'll structure these is using my badass bullet point formula, which starts with an action verb. You can see here we have tons: earned, increased, set, built, navigated, managed, and so on. And some of these you'll notice are in present tense, which because this job is to present, that's what we do. Some of them are in past tense because these are accomplishments that we have already done even though they're in this job. It is totally fine to jump back and forth between the two. So we start with our action verbs, then we get into specific and quantifiable detail. We want to list here exactly what we did and the level to which we accomplished it, and that's why we close out these bullet points with a result. So those are the three pieces. We got our action verb, specific and quantifiable detail, and results. Ideally, we would include as many bullet points with concrete results as possible. However, not every bullet point is going to have a concrete result, and that is okay as well. You do not need to stress yourself out about only listing bullet points that have these great results, but please include as many as possible if you want to optimize your chances of landing an interview and getting a job. Now, a couple of myths I want to dispel is that there is a rule about how many bullet points we can have under each job. There certainly is not. As many as you need to get the point across that you were great at this job and that you have the skills that would be relevant to the person hiring you for the next job. There's another myth that I wanted to address, which is that resumes need to be only one page. This is completely false. Unless the company that you are applying to specifically asks for a one-page resume, you may go to 2. I often recommend people go to 2 as soon as they have even 3 to 5 years of professional experience. Now, this resume template that I'm showing you is my highest converting resume template I've ever created. Did I know it was going to be the highest converting template ever when I created it? Absolutely not. But the numbers don't lie, it converts like crazy. If you want to pick up this template to build your own resume, I have a link to that down below. Finally, I just want to address some additional information we can include in our resumes. So you'll see here we have our education section. Now, typically 15 years is about the cap at which I would recommend including the date on the education, so this one is going to be gone by next year. We can also include any certificates we have that are relevant to our candidacy for the job that we want to apply to. On volunteer experience, I mean, that's really a personal choice if you want to include that or not. If it's a recurring volunteer role where you have leadership responsibilities like a board position, that kind of thing is absolutely great, but we don't have to include that either if we don't want to. Other sections you can include that I don't have here: a technical proficiencies section where we list all of the software or other technical skills that we have. You can also include an awards section if you have awards that you're particularly proud of. And I've seen people include publications, presentations, all kinds of things. You don't need all of this stuff, but you certainly are allowed to include it if you would like. Now, if you follow all the advice in this video, it's very likely you're going to start lining up job interviews in no time. So your next piece of homework is to check out this video that walks you through how to answer the hardest job interview questions. I'll see you over there.